Hey everyone, welcome back. And say hello to the dual brush pen art markers by Tombow. We will be using these on our next coloring page, so I thought it would be a good time to swatch these out. Well, I started buying these months ago before I started this project, Coping Creatively. I saw some of the packages on sale, so I thought I would try them out. I really didn't want to use alcohol markers because in the past, when I've used those, the smell is so strong, it gives me a headache. And since these are water-based, they have no odor. Also, with alcohol markers, you can get some bleed through. They're hard to blend. With these, you don't get much bleed through, and they're easier to blend than alcohol markers. And the cool thing, too, about these is they have two tips. They have a brush tip and a smooth fine tip on them. Let's go ahead and open this up. And this is the case that you can either purchase separately or buy the whole kit. There's 108 of these markers, and you can buy the whole set together with the case. Now, I suggest you do that. I mean, it looks like quite a bit to buy this whole set at once, but I did it the hard way. I did start buying the packs of these. I looked for them to be on sale, so I thought I was getting a good deal. I was buying them cheaper. But as I started collecting the packs, I noticed there were a lot of duplicates. So you're paying for more than one of the same color, and not all of the packs have all of the colors. So you're still going to have to buy some separately. Now, I suggest you go to the Tombow website, tombowusa.com. Go check them out, and if you sign up there, they will give you 15% off. So that's 15% off if you get the whole kit. And by the way, this isn't sponsored. This is my observation. You're going to save money in the long run if you buy the whole thing together instead of buying the individual packs, even if you see them on sale, even at half price, because you're going to end up with a lot of duplicates, and you're still not going to have the entire set. You're still going to have to buy the singles. Now, I like going to the Tombow website because they're the next town over, so even if I order there, I can get things in within a couple of days. Now, if you want to, you can go to Amazon, and I will put links to both Tombow and Amazon in the description box below. But like I said, if you go to the Tombow website and you haven't bought anything from them before, you can get 15% off, and so that'll save you some money there. Or if you need individual markers, they have them there too, and they're going to be a lot cheaper than if you go to Amazon. Another thing that's really neat is this opens up and you can have all your markers all in a row. And the cool thing is I went to a tailored image on Etsy, and Stacy Bledsoe, I love her swatch sheets. She had the swatch sheet for these Tombow dual brush pen art markers, and I will put a link to a tailored image Etsy store in the description box below because she has so many different swatch sheets, and I love them. And that's what I'm going to be using from now on. That's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be swatching these out because we are using this on our new coloring page to fill in large areas before we go in with the pencil. Let me zoom you in, and we are going to start swatching these out. These are the swatch sheets from Stacy Bledsoe. I prefer to keep it all on one sheet and then cut it out. Her preference is to cut these out and then do the swatch. It's just too hard for me to hold on to one and do that. And another thing, which is so cool about this, is she provides a cover sheet that we can color in when we're done. Done swatching with me before, you know I can't swatch straight up and down. I'm going this way. We're going to start out with the peach, and what we're going to do for these, we're going to just go straight across. This is peach. Ooh, that's very light. And then we'll take a second pass, about a third, and another third, and go a third pass. And then I'm going to take the fine tip and just go, this is darker here. I may have to check with them and see if something's wrong with this peach. Yeah, it's all dried out, it looks like. I have to get that one replaced. Well, at least we got this in, and when I get a replacement, I'll fill it in the center. Next is light orange. If this one works, do one pass, and don't worry if you don't get all the way to the end. Then about a third, Do another pass, another third. And then we take the fine tip. There we go. Next is yellow gold. Yeah, there is no odor whatsoever on these. And you can see I'm going over. It's my shaky hand. It's just a swatch sheet. Next is dark ochre. I went over a couple there too. I'm telling myself it's okay. Processed yellow. Boy, it goes down pretty much the same. Whether you do 1 layer, 2 layers, or 3 layers. And next is pale yellow. And I'm hoping you can see that. I still can't figure out this camera. I'm grateful you put up with me. Next row. Green ochre. Maybe if I do shorter strokes. So this is a practice on how to use them and making your swatch sheet at the same time. Yeah, it looks like maybe just doing shorter strokes. I can do it without getting too shaky. This is really pale yellow. Oh, this reminds me of a little baby duckling. Avocado. I know my thirds aren't the same every time. Lemon lime and chartreuse for this row. Now I'm using my usual paper, my Neenah paper stock. I am noticing we're getting a little bubbling because these are water-based. Going in there real dark. Let's see what it looks like on the back side. And we don't get any bleed through at all. It's just starting to pucker where the markers were. That doesn't bother you. You can use regular paper, or you can use watercolor paper. Dark olive. Oh, this one, yeah, the more layers you put on, the darker it gets. Willow green. Yeah, I put a little bit extra layers in that one. That's okay. Dark jade. This is kind of close to the dark olive. Asparagus. I'm supposed to be using a fine tip on that. Okay, continue here for the light green. It's more like a Kelly green. Girl Scout green. Yeah, we're not swatching out pencils this month because I'm using a set of pencils that I've had for a while and already swatched out. But I wanted to try using them on a coloring page over markers. And this is gray green. Yeah, it is a gray green. Next row, mint, sap green. Another nice thing about these swatch sheets that Stacy provides over on A Tailored Image is she's got them in order for you. Now it may not be entirely by color family. It's good enough for me. It's in order. We're swatching them out. They're kind of together. I just needed a visual representation of what these look like on paper. Next is hunter green. Ooh, that gets really dark. Almost a black color when you get to the third layer. And I'm noticing too, the more layers you add, the less you see the lines. Plus they have blenders, colorless, and you can probably blend those lines out a lot more. 277 dark green. I'm just doing different techniques to keep from getting too bored. As you know, swatching is not my favorite task. Next is Alice Blue. Pretty. It's kind of like a robin's egg. Yeah, there's no smell whatsoever from these. If anybody can recommend a good alcohol-based marker that doesn't have a strong smell, but I'm very susceptible to different scents and smells. They give me headaches. 276 is green, plain green. Make sure you can see me here. Okay, this is one of the things I don't like about using markers exclusively. These streaks and lines really bug me. Maybe I needed to play with the blender a little bit more with these water-based ones. Last row for this one, holly green, 312. Yeah, see these caps on these do not represent colors at all. So you definitely need to have a swatch sheet for these. Tombow does offer a mixing palette where you can mix colors together and a color chart on one side. But it's laminated and it's their printed version and it may not exactly match on paper, especially the paper you use. You could get that if you really detest swatching. It'll be at least close enough. Better than the tips of these markers. Maybe on the really light side, I wouldn't suspect this color from the tip of the marker. Sea green. And I'm noticing too, some of these markers glide really nicely and others not so much. This one was kind of hard for me to get down and this one was so easy. This is sea blue. The other one was sea green. This is sea blue. So we can use them like this and do little strokes, just like using watercolor paints, but without the mess. Which is what I like. I mean, as much as I like being crafty, the cleanup mess is And the setup. Sometimes the setup can be just as time consuming as the actual coloring. And then you gotta clean it up. This is jade green. Ooh, that's really dark. Even on the first pass. That went on nicely. This is aqua. Last one for this page. Bright blue. See how bright the blue is. Oh yeah, that's a pretty blue. I like that one. Okay, one down. How many more to go? I don't know. About 3. Tiki teal. Ooh. Another thing too is sometimes the brushes are a little stiffer on certain colors. This is a really, seems like a stiffer brush. Turquoise. Or all of this could be user error. I wouldn't doubt that. When you build up this turquoise, it's really pretty. Sky blue is next. Ooh, that's really light. And it goes on so nice. This is one of the softer brushes. Next is processed blue. This is one of the stiffer brushes. Cyan. I like that one. I didn't think I would, but I do. This is glacier blue. Oh, I forgot to fill in the lines on this. I'm so excited about this blue. And glacier blue now. This is another pale one. Yeah, this is just a hint of color. Reflex blue. Oh, I went way over on that one. Some of these get kind of globby with the fine tip too. Light blue. True blue. Yeah, I don't think I'll be using the fine tips very much. Navy blue. I want to be very mindful on our coloring page not to go outside of the lines. I'm just not being very precise here. Peacock blue. Boy, this almost looks purple. The tip looks so purple, but it's coming out kind of a bluish color. That is so weird. Cobalt blue. This is another one that deposits a lot of color. Next up is mist purple. Ultramarine. Ooh, that got really dark. It got really dark in this corner too with these fine. Deep blue. Yeah, now we're starting to get into more of the purplish colors. Not much difference between the second and third. I think 2 layers of this one and you're good. Jet blue. I'm finding too, the closer I hold it to the end, the less shaky I am. Next up, periwinkle. It's a pretty color. Violet. Violet. You're turning violet. Am I showing my age there? Pretty color. I'm noticing, and I don't know if it's my shaky hand, my technique, or what. I noticed some of these are more gloopy, did I say? I can't get as precise as I can with some of the other ones. I'm not sure. Just have to try it out on a coloring page. Got lilac, my favorite color. Let's see if it is. Oh, that's a nice, pretty pale purple. Yeah, I like that. Growing up in Michigan, there are lilacs everywhere. And in the spring, my dad would go pick a big bunch for my mother, and we have them all over the house. Beautiful smelling flower. This is very pale. Next is purple sage. This is another pretty purple. See where I did the extra line there. Gotta be careful of that. Imperial purple. Oh yeah, that's what I figured it'd be, some dark purple. You get it in there 3 layers, it almost looks like velvet. Purple, so it's just plain purple. Close to being like a magenta. Orchid, oh, I like that one too. Royal purple. Yeah, the second and third layers are pretty close on this. One more row and we're done with this one. Dark plum. It's almost like a gray color. Oh, it's almost black. Down there at the end. Deep magenta. I call this more of a fuchsia. Pink rose is next. Yeah, it does look like a pink rose. Nice bright pink. Pale when you only put 1 layer in. Then it gets nice and bright down here. Now we got regular pink. It's laced out nice. Rhodamine red. Holy goodness, that's bright. That'll glow in the dark. I think we used to wear this color in the 80s. Hot pink. Next up, ruby red. Yeah, there's not too much difference between the second and third layers on this one too. Port red. Yep, this is like a nice glass of Cabernet. Carnation. See, now this brush is really soft. Yeah, it looks like carnation. And blush. Starting to get a little better staying in between the lines. Not much. Baby pink. I'm assuming this is going to be really light. Oh yeah. Barely puts any color. Yeah, it just puts a hint of color on your paper. Just nice when you want something like that. Pink punch. I have a feeling this is going to have a little bit of orange in it. Next up is cherry. Up next is mauve. Yeah, it definitely is mauve. Another color from the 80s. Persimmon. It's a pretty red. Okay, now this 837, we're gonna skip right now because I didn't realize I didn't have that, so I just ordered it from Tombow. It should be here tomorrow. So we're just gonna go right down to Carmine. Carmine. We had neighbors growing up that spelled their name that way, and it was Carmine. But maybe pronounced Carmine for colors. I don't know. Yeah, and this one, the second and third layers aren't much different either. It's a nice bright red though, I like it. Crimson, roll tide. Next up is Flesh. If you're using markers to do your coloring pages, yeah, this would be a good choice for skin tone. Some people do some wonderful artwork with just markers. I don't know if I could do that. Chinese red. It's more of an orangey red color. Boy, I sure hope I don't go outside of the lines when I do our coloring page. Okay, this is coral. Next up is brown. Definitely brown. I think by the third layer it's gonna get really dark. Next up, warm red. That's weird they got brown, red. And then the coral kind of mixed in there too. Next up is redwood. That's weird, that red right in between these browns. What went way out there. Yeah, this tip is kind of mushy. Now we're going back to the reds. This looks more orange than red. I'm not a color expert though. Opal? Oh, I figured opal would be more of a kind of a tannish, whitish. This one's not laying down too good. Gotta get a couple of layers in there. Pale cherry. See, like this one's really nice. More of a brown color. That's why it's best to go by your swatch sheet than the names of the colors. Scarlet. I had a kitty whose name was Scarlet and she spelled it the same way. This is orange. Yep, that's orange. Yeah, not much difference on that one from second to third. Maybe just a little darker. And tan. Yeah, that's a nice color. I think if you're going to use these a lot, you should probably use watercolor paper. And the last row is gold ochre. I don't like that color. I don't think I would. Burnt sienna is next. Next is chocolate. Oh, that's not dark enough for my taste. I like dark chocolate. There we go. There's my dark chocolate. Yeah, that gets pretty dark. Next up is saddle brown. Chrome yellow. Ooh, this one lays down really nice. It's almost orangey as you put more layers in. And light sand is last. This is another good color if you're doing skin tones. Okay, last one. And you can see here I was practicing. Let's see, light ochre. I went way over here. Sand is next. I bet you this will be another good skin tone color. Might be too dark, too grayish. Yeah, the nice thing about these two is if you use up a lot of one color, you can go and buy just the one marker. But to start out with, if you want all the colors, the most economical way will be just to buy the whole kit and caboodle outright. If you try to piecemeal it, it's going to be more expensive, in my opinion. And this is chrome orange. And like I said at the beginning, if you haven't signed up at Tombow yet, Tombow USA, you get 15% off if you sign up for their newsletters. They send you some really cute and neat tips and tricks. So it's not like a really wasteful newsletter like you get sometimes. Kind of like that chrome orange. Ooh, black is next. Now we're getting into the grays. Oh yeah, that black is black. I don't think there's going to be any need to do second and third layers. Just fill this in. Oh, there's something there. Don't know what that is. Glob or something. It's in the paper now. It's a nice dark black. Lamp black, which is not as black, but it's still pretty dark. Unlike the black, you can build this up to make it pretty dark though. Yeah, it's got a touch of white in it to make it not as black. Cool gray 12. I think we're gonna go lighter and lighter here. This gray is still pretty dark. Cool gray 10. Oh, I got big gloppy up there. Yeah, this lays down a lot of color. You have to be very mindful of how some of these lay down color. Pretty thick. Warm gray, number 8. Still pretty dark. Cool gray, number 8. Uh-oh. I think this one is kind of dried out too. Look at that. Okay, this one's probably gonna have to go back too. See, it's coming out here. Let's get some of the color in here. Cool gray 7. Let's see, this is laying down nicely. It can still get pretty dark when you layered up. Warm gray number 5. Boy, I'm getting kind of sloppy here. I guess I'm ready to be done with this swatching. Cool gray number 6. Yeah, we're getting a little lighter. We'll see how it looks when we layer it up though. Yeah, that's pretty good. Cool gray number 5. Still gets pretty dark when you layer it up. Cool gray number 3. Oh, that lays down nice. Warm gray number 2. Warm gray number 1. Very pale. Okay, and cool gray number 1. Sure made a mess of these grays. And the colorless blender. I don't know if we're gonna get anything in here or not. So we got these done. They're not perfect, but at least I know what colors I have. I made a mess of this one. Woo! I'm gonna let these dry down a little bit. I got a peach to send back and cool gray 8 to send back and get replacements. And I'm waiting on my wine red. Okay, while we wait for those swatch sheets to dry, let's color in our cover sheet. I am going to start with the N95, the cool gray 1 for the elephant. And I think these are tusks here. Do those a different color? I'm hoping those are tusks. I'm just using this like a paintbrush. Yeah, and it's laying better than the swatch sheets. It doesn't matter if you go outside the lines here. We're gonna cut it out. Okay, that base color is pretty much in. Then I'm going to go in with the cool gray 3, which is N75, and do some shadowing down in here. I'm just kind of following these lines on the elephant ear. Do some little darker down in here and around his head. Well, it could be a her. Well, I don't know. Do female elephants have tusks, or is it just the male? I don't know. That's something I'll have to Google. Yeah, I'm going to have to practice with these. These are nice. I'm going to do a few dark areas in the tusk, or I should say the trunk. I was looking at the tusks, thinking what color do I do those in? Kind of going where these lines are. Okay, I think I'm gonna go one more pass with the light gray, and hopefully it doesn't get too waterlogged. I don't know if you're supposed to fill in all the white space like a colored pencil or not. Just gonna have to find me some YouTube videos. I just bought them to fill in background area. And then if there was some white space left over, I just fill that in with the colored pencil. But I'm kind of liking these to color with. Still gotta figure out what color I want to do the tusks in. Yeah, this might be a little crinkly when I'm done. I'm gonna let him dry down before I do anything else with him, if I do anything else. Let's do the trees in the background, and we are going to use light olive and dark olive. For the trees, I'm just doing light strokes kind of in the way of the trees. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry down a little bit before I go in with the olive. So we're gonna do the tree trunks, which are going to be light sand and sand. Go in with the light sand 990. These dry enough to go in with the dark olive. So let's go in. I'm just gonna go kind of where you see the dark. Okay, now let's go in with the sand. Add some shadows to the trees. I'm just trying to go where the light sand hasn't. I think I want to do this grass green ochre, which is 076. For the sky, I want to use glacier blue, which is 491. And I think I'm gonna have to turn you for this one. Yeah, there's a sky blue, but I like this glacier blue better. Okay, I'm gonna flip you over and get the other side. You look at it from a different angle and you see where you miss some spots. I don't know if those are mountains or grass. Yeah, it's a little streaky. I'm sure if you use the blender, but I don't want to really get into that on this paper. Okay, let's figure out what to do with his tusks. They're kind of an ivory color, and I don't know if we have. We may have to just do a light sand. Now let's go over with the blender and see. Yeah, that lights it up pretty good. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to take the cool gray number 3, the N75, and add some more shadows. See how much we can add before the paper just disintegrates. Yeah, it gets darker and darker the more layers you put on. I'm gonna take the blender and see if we can blend some of this out, because I don't want to add any more of that cool gray. Let that dry down. Next is grass. I'm gonna take dark ochre and kind of fill in some of this here. Oh, 27. Well, this brush is kind of, as I call it, mushy. and it deposits a lot of color. I wonder what would happen if we use the blender on this. I'm gonna clean the blender off. Kind of soften this up a little bit. I could have fun playing with this on a coloring page. If you want to see me use these on a coloring page, just hit the like button and a comment below and I will figure something out. I'm game for anything, as long as it's not too messy. Don't give me anything messy to do. I don't want to clean up. Yeah, that toned it down. I might go in with a little bit more of the green ochre once it's dried down. And while that's drying, we gotta figure out what we want to do with this grass back here. I know. I want to do some of the gray green 228 and the chartreuse 133. And we're just gonna start filling this in. Probably should have done the light first, but I will. Okay, I'll let that dry down a little bit before I go in with the chartreuse. See how that does? Is this dry enough? I'm gonna let that dry a little bit more too before I go in with some more of that ochre. Okay, it's dried down a little bit. This is the green ochre. I'm just kind of trying to fill in some spots here. Let's see what the chartreuse will do. I just want to use this color. Ooh, add some brightness. I have to go back over it again to tone it down a little bit with the, what did we use for this one? Let's go back in with some gray green, which is 228 while it's still wet, and maybe we can blend some of this together, make it not so bright. Okay, I see some areas that still need some glacier blue. Get these last little areas with the glacier blue, and then we'll be done with him. Our cover sheet's done. I'm gonna let him dry down, and while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the swatch sheets. And I don't think you really want to watch me cut out swatch sheets every time. You can either use scissors, an X-Acto knife. I use my quilting table ruler and fabric rotary. And all you quilters out there, don't have a heart attack. It's an old one. I'm not using it for fabric anymore. Let me go cut those out. Oh, one thing to remember when you do cut them out is there's a number above each one. Before you cut that number off, put the number on the back of your swatch sheet so you don't forget which order they go in. Okay, there you have it. Another swatch sheet done. Came out okay despite my going out of the lines. I want to let you know on this little trick on some of these. I went in with my Artlicious acrylic marker and filled in where I went over the lines, so it doesn't look as bad. It all came out pretty good. Not perfect, but who is? I am not. Once you get these cut out and you've got your hole in, you can use twisty tie, zip tie, yarn, ribbon. Stacy at her website, A Tailored Image, sells those metal ball keychains that you can use. I just have these sitting around and they just pop open and then I can just clamp them wherever I need them. So for this swatch sheet, I'll just keep it clipped right on the lid to my marker so it's always there. Thank you for joining me again for another epic swatch book episode. I keep thinking it won't take that long and it ends up taking a couple hours. I appreciate your company. If you want to see more swatching videos like this, please hit the like button and leave me a comment. I will keep doing them. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell so you can have ready access to all my upcoming videos. Next up, we're doing a color page that's going to be a whole lot of fun, mixed media. We're going to be using these Tombow markers as part of filling in large areas before we go in with colored pencil. So that should be interesting to see. And I've got some other goodies to share with you on that page. So check back often, hit that subscribe and notification bell. And thank you for stopping by. So we'll see you soon. And until then, hang in there and have some fun.